Chapter 231. This agenda is complete to the extent known and was sent to the Trenton Times and the Trentonian newspapers, posted on the first floor bulletin board in City Hall and filed in the City Clerk's office. Formal action will be taken. Roll call.
Mr. Blakely. Present. Ms. Caldwell Wilson. Mr. Harrison. Mr. Michelle. Present. Mr. Rodriguez. Present. Ms. Vaughn. Ms. McBride.
Present. Invocation and flag salute.
Please stand. Almighty God, who holds the fate of man and nation, we most humbly beseech you to bless this our city, these deliberations, and these thy servants, that they may act with wisdom and understanding for the good of our community and thy greater glory. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Members of the governing body, the first item on the agenda for this evening is the approval of minutes from the January 15, 2019 conference session, the January 16, 2019 budget hearing, and the January 17, 2019 regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve? Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell Wilson? Mr. Michelle? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? The minutes have been approved. Next for your consideration is the acceptance of 23 items of communications. There are zero petitions and one report from the City Clerk's office, submitting the approval of the monthly revenue report for the month of January 2019 for funds collected by the staff in the amount of $185,224.25. Is there a motion?
Second.
Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell Wilson? Yes. Mr. Michelle? Yes. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? Yes. And the communications, reports, and petitions have been accepted. Next on the agenda is unfinished business, which would be the second hearing and the second reading of public hearing for ordinance 19-15. I declare open a public hearing on ordinance 19-15, designating the Salvation Army as the lead developer of property at Titus Avenue, Pennington Avenue, and North Lawrence Street, authorizing the purchase and sale of said property, and authorizing the execution of a redevelopment agreement in connection therewith, and authorizing the purchase and temporary lease of 575 East State Street. If anyone wishes to speak on this subject, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Major Elijah Khan, 575 East State Street, Trenton, New Jersey. Council President McBride, members of the council, I'm the commanding officer of the Salvation Army here in Trenton, and we're very pleased to be a part of the fabric of this city, working since 1889 to make a difference in our community. The facility and property of the Salvation Army is proposed here in the city of Trenton. It's a core community center, a center that will serve as a place of refuge and hope and healing for our community, offering educational services to those in need, helping to uplift our people, to break the cycle of poverty, to make their lives better. The Salvation Army is pleased to work with community partners to make this possible. Have an after-school program and laying a strong foundation for young people is very important. You see some of our families are here tonight to support the Salvation Army. Many of the young people who come to the Salvation Army receive more help, receive receive other educational programs, along with social services that the Salvation Army involved with. These programs are all free of charge. It's all for people who are in need. We do our work quietly in the background without fanfare. So we ask the community to join with us, to partner with us so that we can fight for the neediest in our society, in our city. So Salvation Army project that we're proposing, as I've said before, it's not a homeless shelter, it's not a drop-in center, it's not a halfway house. It's a core community center that will be open to the community. In fact, one of the needs we've identified is a place, a reading room or a library for the communities, a place where young people in the community can congregate, where people can go to read, where people will be able to just have a good time. That's what Salvation Army is about. For 130 years, we've been trying our utmost to serve this city, that we are committed to this city, and that we just want to work for the revitalization of our city, to see the good things that happen and try to move forward. So we ask for your support of the Salvation Army project. Thank you.
I just want to thank you. I thank you because this is a needy service in the city of Trenton, and I'm fortunate enough that it's going to be in the North Ward, where we're going to be able to take care of children's needs, their educational needs, and children with special needs, and the community will have access to that building. So I think this is something that we've sorely needed, and I do appreciate your insight and you're working with us on this to make this the best possible center. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak on this subject? Please state your name and address for the record.
Allison McCall, 277 Spring Street, born here, right here. I live a couple blocks, Spring Street, from where you want to put the center. On Spring Street itself, come a long way. At one time, there was a lot of drug dealing on Spring Street, especially where I live, like about a couple doors from here. There was drugs 100 miles an hour, sitting out in the front yards, cooking, selling drugs. Come out of my house in the morning, walk slung out, look, there's two white guys sitting on the ground on the side of my wheels in their arm. They bought the drugs right down there 2 doors from me. Went on for about 18 months. Guys selling these drugs, been busted 3, 4, 5 times, drugs and guns. 4 times, drugs and guns. So when they finally do lock him up and give him some time, they play the same old game, let's make a deal. Drop 2 charges, plead guilty to 2, do 2 years. And that's what he did. In his 2 years. Right now, where we were at, Salvation Army. And he'll bring it right back up to the neighborhood now. You know who you work with, who you got in the place.
Talk to us, Mr. McCall.
Do you know who you got in the place? What you gonna bring a rape up there? Next, so rape with little kids around? Do you know? Do you check their background? Do you know? I'm just trying to help save somebody's life. You don't even know who you even got working in the place. I can bring it to your attention. Like I said, there'd be a civil rights office across that street, so you sue me. That's all. Bring it to your attention.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Ivan Ainsley. I stay at 535 Parkway Avenue. I've been a member of Trenton Citadel Corps since 1995. When I first joined the Salvation Army, I was one of those people he was talking about. I was drug addicted, alcoholic. I kept a job, wasn't indigent. I just wasn't the person God made me to be. By coming to the Salvation Army, I learned the fundamentals that every person should have. I don't know why, I don't know how, but I did not have those fundamentals. I did not know that you did what you did in your community because of what God had done for you. I thought you did stuff and then God gave you stuff. So many people have that mindset that it is difficult to function in a society when you're self-centered. The Salvation Army taught me how to remove stuff, to replace that with God's will. And my community's been improved. I worked for the Salvation Army between working and volunteering for 7 years. In June the 5th, I will have 15 years of sobriety. And I'm here to tell you, no way I could have did that by myself. I wasn't battered, I wasn't harassed, I was just shown there's a different way to live. And I learned that at the Salvation Army. I've been there through 6 officers, 6 corps officers, and all of them were people I'm proud to say that I've been associated with. I really feel for the city of Trenton. We have so many systemic problems. The Salvation Army is not one of them. I'm here to tell you that the Salvation Army makes a difference in every community we touch. I was sergeant major there for 3 years. I was corps helper there for another 3 years. I was the director of the Homeless Rocking Center for 2 years. Believe me, our intent, when we go into any community, any neighborhood, any city, any town, is to improve without presence. Our motto is hand in man and our heart to God. And we mean every word of it. I've seen officers sacrifice. My wife died in 2011. I had most of the money to marry her. I was $1,500 short. My corps officer, John Ferrara, put his personal money up to bury my wife. Am I biased? Probably, but I'm biased for good reason. I don't know every city councilman, but a few of you I do know. I'm a born and bred Trentonian. The Salvation Army has only improved the city of Trenton. I can't think of a single detractor in having the Salvation Army in your neighborhood. I don't know what else to say. I feel for people in bad situations, the crime, the drugs in the city of Trenton. But when people leave the Trenton ARC, they are better people for it. We do the best we can with what we have. We make a difference. Believe me, the difference that has made in my life, and I know a myriad of other people who have had their lives changed by interacting with the Salvation Army. I only have praise for this organization. I will be a soldier in the Salvation Army until the day I die.
Good evening. I'm Charlie Parkinson, 21 Apple Valley Drive in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. I am owner and president of Capital Fire Protection, small business located here in Trenton. For years, I have supported many of the charitable organizations such as the Salvation Army, Rescue Mission, Hope Front, and Mount Carmel Guild. And I'm here to tell you that I've also lately become involved with the canteen and feeding program that the Salvation Army runs on the 2nd and 4th Fridays of every month. We go out to 3 locations in Trenton and we feed the poor. 2 weeks ago, we provided 108 hot meals for poor people here in Trenton. A month ago, we provided 111 hot meals for the poor people here in Trenton. This community center, I've also been involved in the Christmas giving program that the Salvation Army does every year. To see the faces of these families that the Salvation Army provides free Christmas gifts for their children is unbelievable. This community center is going to be nothing but an asset for your community. the educational programs, the social service programs that it's going to offer is going to enhance the community greatly. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Stacy Powell, my address is 5 Hour, and I'm a resident here at Trenton, New Jersey. I will be before you long. I just wanted to come out to talk about the problem and the solution. And I feel that I had the opportunity to be a part of the Salvation Army. I just moved here back to Trenton, and I had to make a transition to an apartment complex that was infested with bed bugs. So even though I had all brand new furniture, unfortunately, I had to do everything in my house. And I was able to go to the Salvation Army, and they were able to help me. And a very hard situation. It was 2 weeks before Christmas. My daughter was coming home from college. I didn't have any furniture, and now I have a kitchen set, and now I have a bed, a couch. And not only that, my son suffers from seizure disorder. And the first thing the staff person listening did when I came was pray. And then she went right to giving me referrals, right to help me. If there was something that she couldn't address, she pointed me in a direction, and they're pulling me up. So I just wanted to say that it was a pleasure being a part of Salvation Army as I continue to grow in my life with my son. They still are very supportive. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Gloria Bennett, and my address is 466 North Young Street. I'd like to thank Major Khan and Major Valerie for opening up the doors to my program. I'm a member of Not Anonymous, and they opened the doors to have a women's meeting at the Salvation Army, and we're doing very successful. You know, people come, you know, don't have a clue where they're going, but we're all on media saying that we have a meeting there, and a lot of times people come in here and it's like, thank God for this meeting here, you know, and I've been in sobriety 30 years, you know, and in order to get, I'm new to this. It's the first time I've been to a council meeting, and I'm really nervous, but I really want to help. You know what I mean? I love getting involved. I love giving back, because God gave this to me, and I know that I have to, I need to give it back. And I'm so blessed to be here, and I love what we're doing with the Salvation Army. You know, and a lot of people coming in, we have anniversary celebrations, we have food, and we just have a good old time in recovery. And I don't know, what we're going to be trying to do, is going to be better. For the city of Trenton, we've got a lot of people in the city of Trenton suffering from drugs and alcohol. We have a lot of people. It's like average at home. Family members, maybe your family. I don't have any more family, but it's a good opportunity for Salvation Army, and they we do a great job. They do a good job. They open the doors to everybody, and I love that. I'm just glad to come and be able to say something about my improvements. First time I did this, but awesome.
Good evening, council members. My name is Captain Debbie Engel, and I'm the administrator for the program for the Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center, 436 Mulberry Street here in Trenton. And before I was an officer at the ARC, the Adult Rehabilitation Center, I, like Major Khan, was a corps officer. And just in case you're not familiar with that term, the corps is what we call the church, the Salvation Army Church. And our mission is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ and meet human needs in His name without discrimination. And I'm just here in support of this new building for the Salvation Army. As a former corps officer myself, I am well aware of what it does for young people whose parents are perhaps incarcerated, for especially single-parent families. For those kids who seem to not fit in anywhere else, they're always going to fit in at the Salvation Army. And I don't care if they're kids, teenagers, young adults, seniors, there is something for everybody at every age of the Salvation Army, and they feel welcomed and they feel included there. I know for our guys, I have two of my guys right here. Lou and Bart, who actually went through our program at the Adult Rehabilitation Center. They're both graduates of the program. They both work for us now at the Salvation Army, and they volunteer for Major Khan at the Salvation Army at East State Street right now, hopefully in the new building. If they, we're hoping that they get to move on to there. And our guys, when they graduate the program, they need to find a church in the community because the rehabilitation center is not meant to be a permanent church. And so our hope is that they find a church to connect to in the community. And we know that the Salvation Army is a great church for them to connect to because of everything that they do in the community. Not only there at the building, but also when they go out to nursing homes, the prison, the hospital, wherever they go. We are an army on the move, and we're going to keep serving. We are safe to serve, and I just hope that you will support this endeavor of them. Thank you for listening.
Good evening, Richard Creekan, 819 Spruce Street, Trenton. It's an honor to be before you guys. Thank you for the service. I came to Trenton, or back to Trenton in 2012. Life brought me back here. I had $7 to my name, in my pocket, and I didn't know where to go. I just was up there at the train station. I took a right, and I found the Salvation Army. There was a drop-in center there, and at that point, I didn't know which way I was headed or what. I didn't have no friends here. I didn't know nobody, but the Salvation Army was a home. As far as steady people, good caring people, and I've been able to put my life back together. And now I'm a proud adopted son of the city of Trenton. And the Salvation Army Corps set it up for my home church now for about 6 years. And it's just, it's a positive place. Good, strong relationships are built there. The children that come there, they learn mathematics, they learn, whether that's STEAM programs, science, technology, mathematics. There's music programs that they can get involved in. And the Salvation Army just is a real positive influence in the community. And I just want to point out that the area where the new church is supposed to be built, if you guys can agree to it, is the 5 Points where General Washington got the Hessian bomb guns and turned the tide of the war around. And I can see that happening with the Salvation Army being right there also. It's kind of symbolic. We can turn the tide of the city around towards the positive. Just the way it did in the past, we can do it in the future. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Forgive me for my appearance so South New York working. My name is Reverend Ed McEwen. Many of you knew my brother Terry McEwen, who's the VA here and also the director of banking for the state of New Jersey. I was a resource development officer for the Salvation Army for approximately 15 years. The Salvation Army is a Christian organization, bona fide Christian organization. I went to Westminster Theological Seminary School, which is a break off of Princeton, in 1929. And I just like to say that the programs, the life skill, job readiness programs that we taught at the Salvation Army was second to none. The feeding programs, we used to go around every Friday evening to feed the community, whether they were children, adults in the community. They got fed and they loved when we came around every Friday evening. Not only did the Salvation Army feed the community on Christmas Day and Thanksgiving Day, but I got a lot of the churches involved in the city of Trenton to feed just about every single week the homeless and the poor at the Salvation Army. On Christmas season, the Salvation Army provided 300 free trees, Christmas trees, to the indigent, to the poor in the city of Trenton. Gave over 1,000 big garbage bags full of toys and bikes to the young children who weren't going to receive anything for their Christmas gifts and presents. The Salvation Army, it has been said, and the only thing I can do is put my stamp on the Salvation Army as a Christian. They are a big part of the kingdom of God. And I just ask that each and every one of you have compassion and examine yourself and have compassion to what this Salvation Army is doing and was doing and still is doing in the city of Trenton. I have a ministry, it's called I Kingdom Ministry Incorporated, and I'm going to be partner with the Salvation Army to make Trenton a better place. Even when I was there, we had gang members, leaders of gang members come in. You don't hear the names anymore in the city of Trenton. We work here, we counsel them. I've done jobs for them. It's a great organization. Don't turn your back for the Salvation Army. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Ryan. Thank everyone for coming to support the Salvation Army's proposal. This was very important in terms of my deliberative process, and I just want to say this sounds like a fantastic opportunity, but I did have one question, just to get on the record. Can I have this appropriate time to ask the...
Yes, it is.
Oh, thank you. Can I have a representative from the Salvation Army come to the podium so I can ask a question? How's it going, sir?
Good.
So can you just reiterate for the public what kind of programs will occur in this building? I just want to be very clear so that it's on the record what kind of programs will be there and what kind of programs won't be there. And one last question. Will there be a deviation from any programs that currently exist at the existing site, at the new site?
I know that there has been some concern about homelessness and shelter programs and other programs along those lines. What I can say very clearly, Councilman, is that Salvation Army has done a program steady, and our focus in the city of Trenton is youth and family services. So what we are proposing is not a drop-in center, it's not a shelter, it's not a halfway house, it's not even a rehab center, because we already operate a rehab center here on 436 Walnut Street. You just heard from Captain Eagle. So what we are proposing is a core community center that will cater to youth and family, a center that will provide educational services to the least of these, our neediest citizens. Young people are going through something. Some of our young people can't read, so having an educational program, an after-school program, a summer program, a reading room, programs that uplift people. Salvation Army is known for giving a hand out. We're going to do that, give a hand out. But we also want to provide means so that people can become self-sufficient. You've heard the saying, you give a person a fish, they'll have a meal for a day. But if you teach them to fish, then they'll have a meal for a lifetime. So our goal is to give people opportunities, to give them the tools. Single mothers, we want to have something in this new facility that will help our single mothers to become good parents, to help their children. So our intention is clear. Since 1889, Salvation Army has been a good neighbor. We've been in the city during good times as well as bad times. We have not left for 130 years. We want to stay, we want to keep working, we want to be a good neighbor. And our programs will be family and youth services. That's our primary focus at this time.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to voting affirmatively on this fantastic project.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you.
Council President, let the record reflect that Councilman Harrison has arrived at the meeting at 5:36 p.m. and Councilwoman Vaughn has arrived at 5:45. If there is no further public comments, is there a motion to close this public hearing? Moved by Councilman Blakely, second by Councilwoman Caldwell-Wilson. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn? Yes. Ms. McBride?
Yes.
This public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to adopt said ordinance and authorize publication as provided by law?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Caldwell-Wilson, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Are you ready for the vote?
Yes, we are.
Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
And Ms. McBride?
Yes.
Ordinance 19-15 has been properly adopted. I declare open a public hearing on ordinance 19.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Salvation Army, on behalf of the families that are represented here, on behalf of our advisory board, I want to express our thanks and appreciation to the council and to the people of this great city. Together we'll become city of better things. Thank you.
I declare open a public hearing on ordinance 19-16, which is a bond ordinance providing for the lead service line replacement program in the Trenton Waterworks service area, buying in the city of Trenton, in the county of Mercer, state of New Jersey, appropriating $15 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of 15 million bonds or notes to finance the cost thereof. Anyone wishes to speak to this subject, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Just like this, read a paragraph from an interview that was with Dr. Shea, Community News. Dr. Shea stated, we are launching a program to eliminate the lead contamination of drinking water, starting in 2019. And we have already gone out to bid on this. We are going to replace all of the pipelines connecting from our mains to the meter individual households for $1,000. We'll cover all of the additional costs. If a homeowner was to hire a plumber to do it for them, it would cost between $2,500 and $5,000. It's a good deal, and we already have the budget to cover 2,600 households. And according to ordinance 19-16, bond ordinance approving for the lead service line replacement program in the Trenton Waterworks service area by the city of Trenton. I would ask the question, is that not the same thing? Are they not asking for a $15 million bond that is, would be a tax burden? Also, it would be a travesty if we didn't need that burden, and would be a tax burden on our children, my children, your children. So I asked the $15 million bond, is that not the same line replacement? That's all. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Mr. Stacy, okay, for Mr. So we would just basically, Mr. Cruz, the comments, so we just basically, brief us on this $15 million bond, we could do that.
Yes, good evening, Council. Good evening, Madam President. I have Mr. Everett Johnson here, our bond counsel, that would like to address this matter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council President, members of the Council, Everett Johnson, bond counsel, City of Trenton. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have on the bond ordinance itself. I can either speak or take questions.
Well, she just asked a question, if you could, answer the question that the resident just asked, you start there.
Well, yeah, I didn't hear the whole question, I was talking to Mr. Cruz, but I think the question might have been whether the program mentioned, I guess you heard the community is related to the bond ordinance. My suspicion is yes, but obviously I'm not familiar with what was said, community-wise. I can speak to this ordinance, and this ordinance is definitely related to replacement of lead service lines and copper service lines. The United States EPA passed regulations which govern lead service lines. Pursuant thereto, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection sent letters to the Trenton Water Works requiring that these lead service lines be replaced. Obviously, as you know, lead can hazard to public health of the residents of Trenton if they exceed certain levels. A lot of cities with older infrastructure have a lot of problems with lead service lines. There was a program. Let me start from here. I think the more I tell you guys about this, it may be helpful in terms of what you know about it and everything. This past summer, there was legislation that was approved by the Assembly and the Senate, which basically authorized municipalities to fund the replacement of lead service lines on private properties, assuming those projects, the fundings were pursuant to an NJIB, New Jersey Infrastructure Bank project, with the bank and EDP. Under those circumstances, you can finance replacement of lead service lines. Prior to that August legislation, this type of financing was not available to any municipality. Nor really pushed the legislation to pass, and the legislation itself. You'll see that the sponsors of the legislation on the Senate and Assembly side were basically representatives of the city of Newark, or who served, whose districts include the city of Newark. And therefore, they were the first to apply to the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank for this financing. They applied for $75 million, which they were going to do in phases. And we are the second municipality to apply for these funds. These funds are somewhat limited, and the reason why it's helpful to get them early is because the state has earmarked $30 million for principal forgiveness for up to $10 million of each debt issued by municipalities. Let me break that down a little bit more specifically. So on the first $10 million applied for by Newark, they can receive $9 million of principal forgiveness, and they can wipe their $9 million of debt. So on our ordinance, likewise, for $15 million, if we get in now, we are eligible for $9 million of principal forgiveness on our debt. So we may borrow $15 million up front, but they're going to basically waive, forgive $9 million of that. So we wind up paying back $6 million of the $15 million. Of that $6 million, because it's the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank project, $3 million will be paid interest-free, and $3 million will be paid at the state interest rates. So, the financing, obviously, is a lot more beneficial to this college this program than if you went out and spent $15 million of your own money and paid for it through your own water rates and your own tax base without any state assistance. Having $9 million forgiven completely and having the other $6 million handled, which is interest-free, I think is a benefit to the city of Trenton and any other municipality that chooses to participate in this program. So we went down to the state, Trenton, last month, earlier this month, second Wednesday of February, the day that was, seeking the approval of the state, because we need their approval prior to having you guys find out this ordinance. You introduced it, you have to approve it, they did that. Now the final step would be for this council to approve this ordinance as well. I don't want to speak too much, because I'm sure you may have questions.
Yes, I'm going to go to Councilman Layton.
Thank you. So, the question I have, there's been some misunderstandings from some of my colleagues, so I want to just get on the record how this works. So, the $15 million is not, there's no bond. This is just giving us the ability to apply for these bonds. Correct?
Yes.
So, there wouldn't be any bond notes, there wouldn't be any documentation related to any expenditure of the $15 million because we haven't actually drawn down on the $15 million.
As of today, that's accurate.
Okay, so can you explain that? It would be very clear and very basic in terms of when would you be able to get bond notes?
Sure. So the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank requires that all projects that go through them should be funded with notes first. And so we would actually, as soon as bond was actually adopted today, at some point we would adopt a resolution authorizing issues of notes to the NJIB. Thereafter, probably within a month or so, we would issue notes. Those notes will be interest-free for up to 3 years. And the reason being is They don't want to fund permanently projects that may come under budget, over budget, and therefore have you guys paying interest on money you don't really need right now. So they want to install the equipment and then look back and say, okay, how much does it cost to install and replace what's in the lines? And then once that's actually done, take those notes out. When I say take those notes out, being refinancing with permanent bonds. So that the bond issue itself won't be another 2 to 3 years from now. I believe at least 2 years because my understanding is that it'll take 2 years to replace these lines, according to the engineers. So we won't have a permanent bond in 2 years. Initially, we'll have notes. Like I said, those notes will be presumably for $15 million, interest-free, for the first, probably roll for each year. And the reason why that becomes also important is because you mentioned something that was a key point, the drawdown loan. Most times the city of Trenton issues bonds. When we close, there's money deposited into your bank account. So from day one, you're paying interest. On the NJIB borrowings, because it's a drawdown loan, when we close, we don't get paid money right away. It sits with the state. And as work is done, representatives are sent to the state to pay off the work that was done. As you pay those things off, we then start to incur interest on that amount only.
That's my understanding. So let me ask you another question. Any time that we draw down on these bonds, you have to come to city council to get approval for that.
That is not true.
Okay, so please explain.
So once we adopt this ordinance, we're authorized to issue up to $15 million.
Gotcha.
You guys are authorized to go forward and to agree with the NJIB to borrow $15 million. So once that is done, then they can proceed with the work. Once the work is done, you can't tell our contractors, wait a minute, go back and pay you guys. No, so once you guys adopt this work, now you will have to adopt another resolution prior to issue of the actual notice. So you will know prior to when notice will be issued, when that's going to be. You can look back at another resolution.
So is that a continuous process or is that like just one time?
That's a one-time process for the notice. Then before we issue permanent bonds, we'll have to come back again with another set of resolutions for the permanent bond issue.
So that's my point. That's what I was asking. So when you come back to us, each time that you have a permanent bond issuance, you have to come to city council to get approval for that.
That is correct.
That's the point that I was trying to make clear. And so, I mean, would it be sensible for us to turn down, or let me phrase the question another way. What would happen if we didn't vote for this? What would be the negative implications of us saying that, you know, we don't want to do this $15 million bond issuance through this special infrastructure bank? Can you explain that to us?
Well, you're basically wondering where you guys are right now. You have properties with lead service lines that may, have certain sequences and that may affect, people for ingesting water that's intended.
So this bond issuance is central to public safety, and we're getting very, very special rates because the state understands the importance of replacing these lead lines.
That's what I believe, but obviously you start getting into conscious about whether it's important, not important. That's a policy decision.
I know.
I'm looking at the lawyer here.
I understand.
Policy.
A lot of these questions are rhetorical, so I'm just, doing what I do as a politician.
No problem.
To, make sure that everybody is aware that this bond issuance is a matter of public safety, and I think that we have very, very, very favorable terms. So that leads me to my next point. Other than this special state program, do you believe that we would find these terms anywhere else?
Well, other than a special state program, you wouldn't have the ability to. You can remember, as I mentioned earlier, that a lot of lead service lines are on private property, right? So we can't make people, even now, even with this program, it's an elected program, people have to elect to have their lines replaced. We can't go to proper homeowners and say, we're going to just run lines to your property from the curb. They have to volunteer to be a part of the program. This legislation that was passed back in August authorized us to finance this only through this program. So we would have the statutory authority to actually fund improvements to private properties without going through this program. It's like an option.
And my point taken. And my final question is, can you tell me if other municipalities are attempting to do the same thing? So is Norton and Trenton the only cities that are interested in this program? Just based on your knowledge.
To be honest with you, I don't know who else was trying to implement this program. I only know New York because New York has already been approved. They were guinea pigs through the state. They went back and forth for 3 to 4 months, discussion with the state, with NJIP, and EDP. So they're like the first out there. And I know we're the second. I suspect there are more, but I can't speak. I don't know or not aware of what's out there. I do know this though: $30 million for forgiveness. New York has $9 million of it. There's only $20 million left for principal forgiveness. You know, I see the other $9 million in the city of Trenton.
Thank you very much. You answer my question first.
And to answer the latter part of your question, Councilman Blakely, Vice Chair and myself went to the infrastructure meeting that the governor hosted, and the entire state of New Jersey, all of the municipalities sent their mayors to that meeting because they're all interested in this infrastructure trust fund, because the cities across the state of New Jersey, we are suffering from poor infrastructure, and so there were a lot of cities being represented at that forum that the governor hosted. So there are other municipalities interested, but Trenton moved quickly because of our water issue. So we're on top of the ball with this one.
Can I ask something else, Council President? I mean, one thing I want to say is that Infrastructure Bank has many programs. They have a water program, drinking water program, wastewater program, transportation program. This is a special program. So I can tell you that in terms of Infrastructure Bank finances, I'm doing 10 myself, other towns, but they're not lead certified places. They're other types of improvements for water and sewer systems. So she's right. There's a huge amount of interest, and every year, out of guarantees, these municipalities going through the infrastructure bank. But this is a special program that was only approved the last 6 months. Hence, they didn't have the ability to kind of get there quicker than we have. And obviously, a lot of newer towns don't have lead service lines. It's more the older cities that have a lot of older infrastructure that are more affected by this.
So thank you. You were very, very informative. I think you did a wonderful job of presenting the facts as they are. And I hope that we approve this post haste. We don't know what other cities have council meetings today that can beat us to the punch. Thank you.
Councilwoman Wall.
Hi, Mr. Johnson, how are you? Thanks for joining me. Yes, I have a few questions about the bond issue in the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank. Mainly the terms of the bond. It was very interesting that you said that Newark thoroughly negotiated with the bank, as well as submitted an application. Who here in the city of Trenton sat at that table, negotiated, and submitted the application on the city's behalf?
So when you say negotiated, I don't think necessarily negotiated or Newark negotiated anything. They just said this is the program. You apply, you don't apply. What Newark did, what took so long for Newark is because it's a new program, the NJIP didn't have really terms. They didn't know how to really operate it. They said this is a great idea, but we don't have the details. We've done it before, so they were kind of figure out themselves. But they didn't really leave Newark to make any negotiations. They pretty much dictated terms to the city, but because they knew they were doing policy. They didn't figure out all the specifics yet. They didn't really know what terms to dictate initially. It took them a few months to kind of say, do it this way, do it that way. Oh no, do it this way to make sense. So they're kind of figuring out as they go along. And Newark's kind of guinea pig. And they're still going along because Newark still has an issue debt to finance the infrastructure to get. In terms of who was at the table here, well, to be honest with you, I wasn't, have not been at any of the meetings with the city and NJIP directly. I can tell you that I came into play with the bond ordinance and the application of the finance board, and in those conversations, there's representative of CDN, I think her name was Sandra Clixon from CDN Engineering. I dealt with Janet, and I dealt with Dr. Sue, Dr. Shed. I'm sure maybe more people with the NJIP, but I wasn't there, so I can't tell you who was at those meetings.
And my concern is about bonds. Bonds, I want to make it clear to everyone, is debt. In our city, as you well know, we are in a fiscal, I would say, crisis at this juncture. We still haven't approved our budget. We still haven't received transitional aid. There have been other financing that came before this bond that we still have no clear understanding where that funding has gone. And that bond has yet to be issued as well. Okay, so you talk about debt, and this is debt. And my experience with financing and debt, nothing is for free, right? So I'm very interested in knowing, talk about the terms. Of course, I would like to see that documentation of the terms, as you said, have been defined. And you articulated very well. And I'm from Missouri, okay? It's nice that you're here articulating, but I would like at some juncture to see the production of the actual terms. And on those terms, I would like to, hopefully, it outlines all the conditions and the collateral that has been associated with solidifying those bonds. So do you have such documentation that you can share with us post your testimony here?
Sure. So a few things. I'm going to try to a little step by step. With regards to terms, as I mentioned before, the bonds themselves will be issued for 2 more years. So in terms of actual interest rates, we don't know what they'll be into these.
Mainly what I want to, in the terms, if there is such line item in a bond term or contract document, it usually states what the collateral is.
So
is there any collateral here?
The collateral will be, the bonds will be paid out of your water rates in the first instance, because TWW is a self-sustaining utility of Trenton. Self-sustaining means that basically the rates generated from the water sewer are sufficient to pay all the expenses and debt service related to the operation of TWW. So as long as that can be the case, then they will pay in the first instance out of water rates. If for some reason the water rates were sufficient, it would fall to the ad-valorem tax base of the city as a backstop. There would be no properties that could be taken. They wouldn't come take the city hall, your buildings, your vehicles. As with any bond, think about local bond law. Local bond law clearly states that you have to include debt service in annual budgets, and that if there is not sufficient revenue, you have to raise taxes to pay that revenue. In this particular bond right here, initially, you won't have any debt service or any implication for the first 2 years because you'll know your short-term financing is 0% for the first 2 years. So this year's budget, next year's budget, there will be no impact for the city or TWW. Once bonds are issued, then yeah, in TWW's budget, and once again, I say I'm drifting more to the county side of things as an attorney, but my understanding is that utilities have separate budgets within the city budget. And within their budget, there will be a line item for these bonds, along with the other bonds issued to finance TWW equipment or infrastructure.
So
I can give you though, or what I will provide to you, which I don't have in my paper right here. What I can, I'm sure that NWP has a website. They have this program on it. It kind of dictates exactly how it works. I can, definitely forward the link over to the city in terms of, how they present this program. In terms of documents, we haven't signed any documents with NJIB at all. Nor have they presented documents for us to sign, because until we adopt our ordinance, they don't even know we have a deal, or we can go forward. So we won't receive any documents from them until we can review or execute until the ordinance is actually approved.
So, as far as at least a minimum level of documents, you mentioned an application.
Yes.
So that.
Okay, by us.
Right. Oh, okay. So in that application, I would like to see that as well.
Sure.
And I have a copy of that. Right. Absolutely. And of course, when the bonds are the long-term bond that has not yet been issued, and in the interim, what any entity would be allowed to do is to draw down that bond by bond anticipation notes, right? Those are the interim, medium-term bonds that we use to be able to borrow the cash or utilize the cash with the anticipation that the long-term bond, when it gets issued, will pay off that debt with the proceeds, right? So that debt is being pushed down the road, so to speak, but we will still be obligated, right?
Yes. So, I want to add a little bit of nuance. You're right. Same concept to the bond anticipation notes. They call them, because it's a state program, construction loan program notes. And normally with a bond anticipation note, you get, like you with a bond deal, you get cash up front, and you just sit in our bank account, you can do what you want to do with it, and spend how you want to spend it. Here, it's a drawdown, even though it's a note. So even when we close a note with $15 million, we only see $15 million in our account. It's only as money is spent as drawn down upon. But yes, still the same concept that once the money's drawn, let's say we take an argument, we draw down all $15 million. We owe $15 million. And then the bonds will be issued to get our $15 million off and pay on a long-term basis. So that part is accurate.
I just want to know, I just want to say what risk is. The risk with debt is, or any bond, right, debt, is that come our call, or if we fail to make payment, right, and 2-3 years down the line, after drawing down the cash, the notes, right, if we cannot afford to make that payment, for instance, our city is bankrupt or we don't get the transition aid, we don't, you know, our water company, for instance, right, the infrastructure or the fees, don't increase, right? And we can't pay back, what happens?
Well, obviously, like you mentioned before, if there's a bankruptcy, then obviously you have to file bankruptcy. I mean, you have to statutorily, even if you can do so, you would need, even then, you would still need local finance board approval to do so.
Yeah.
So you can't, your own file bankruptcy, you can go to the state and say, hey, we're bankrupt, we want to file it, they say, yeah, we'll allow you to. And, no municipality filed bankruptcy in the state that I know of is the 30s.
Well, the reason why I say that about Trentonians here, and I'm a Trentonian, I pay taxes. And as you mentioned, the collateral would be the fees from the water company, it's generated revenues from our cash cow, that everybody calls it, right? We fear that it's not always going to be a cash cow. There's a lot of infrastructure overhead that has to be taken care of. And you also said the second line of collateral would be taxpayer dollars, which we have limited of in our city, unlike many other cities. And our taxpayers, we are capped out. We can't afford any more increases, particularly not to service debt that we may or may not really need. So I'm just very hesitant to really, lay my signature on this, or my vote on this piece of debt here. Until I see, again, I'm from Missouri, and I want to see a lot of the appropriate level of documentation and all the variables and the attributes in terms of this financing.
Listen, I understand, Councilwoman, but like I said, if we don't adopt the ordinance, we'll never receive terms from the bank. All we can receive would be information as to how the deal works if we would apply to the law like any other state law would apply to.
Yeah, but
And, what you kind of get into is a policy decision was going to the legal side. And, I don't want to push the council to do anything they want to do. I think that, once again, you have to look and say, okay, what are we financing here? We're financing lead supply replacement. Why is that important? Because lead levels can rise to a level that can be toxic to our residents. If we think that, if the position is worth taking that risk, then, obviously everybody has to kind of take that position. If they think that some things, regardless of cost, human lives might be more important, there's going to be an overwhelming public welfare, public benefits to the community to fund this type of improvement, that we support that.
Yeah.
And so that's up to you guys to decide whether that's important enough.
I have one last question and comment, just mainly for the residents that are here, who sometimes bonds and debt can be very confusing, and sometimes we as individuals sign on dotted lines with banks, and we take a debt because a bond salesman stands in front of us and describes to us in very high-level terms what the bond or the debt is. But this debt is no different. A bond is no different than if you get a car loan, if you get a mortgage, right? When you sign on that dotted line, you usually, first, let me just back up, first and foremost, they give you a document, what they call a contract. Bonds have contracts too, rather they're short-term note whether they are long-term. There's documentation in the contract for somebody to sign and review with the terms of that bond. What rate you're paying, what interest you're paying, how long you're going to pay it, and most importantly, what happens when you don't pay it and you can't afford to pay it. Because the marketplace or market forces, the bond rates are dynamic, right? So things can change. You say 0% today, 3 years down the line, it may not be so tomorrow. 3 years, that rate can change depending on the market forces. We don't know. These are fixed income rate bonds, right? So they're determined by what? Federal Reserve Bank, maybe? I don't know.
Is that just me?
Yeah.
I'm here to talk to the residents.
But
Treasury rates.
yeah.
They're set by Treasury rates.
It's Treasury rates, right? So federal government, we don't know where our economy would be. So back to me talking to the residents. So what happens is when you cannot afford to pay the coupon or the interest or the payment at any time, what happens when you cannot afford to pay your car loan or you cannot afford to pay your mortgage? We all face the mortgage crisis. We know what it did to our city, right? A lot of foreclosures. That's right. They take your assets. They take that car. They will take that house. And they will take our water company if we do not pay this debt. And that's why I am reluctant to sign on to this bond without getting more details. Going forward, actually, I will say, I will not be signing on any bonds, any more loans, and put any more debt on our city that we cannot afford until we get a full accounting of all previous debt that this city has taken on. And to have all our bonds that are put forward to this council by an ordinance supplemented with the appropriate level of documentation, not someone coming here giving us a summary of what the debt is going to look like. We want hardcore documentation so we can see what we're getting. Right now, we have no supporting documentation on the terms on this debt. Actually, just what you just described here. Why isn't that documented? Why isn't that documented?
I'm sorry?
The terms of the 11 million, the $15 million bond here for the ordinance.
I'm not.
The proposal.
We have an ordinance. I'm not sure what you mean, but it's not documented.
Well, it's not from this is not legally binding.
If you approve it, it would be.
Well, I know that well, I don't think this is enough documentation. I know what a bond term sheet looks like.
This is not a bond term sheet.
Exactly, that's what I know.
This is a preliminary step to any bond. Before you can actually buy any type of term sheet, you have to have an ordinance authorizing issues of the debt.
Well, I'm glad you said that, sir, because we have a bond that's outstanding right now that we have, our city that just reported today that they have no documentation on. They don't even know what a bond term sheet is. I know.
I don't agree with this, but I find it hard to believe that the city has a bond that's outstanding right now with no documentation. I've been a bond attorney here for just 2 years.
Well, sir, there is one. I have the Oprah report.
I don't make any assumptions.
Understood. So, yeah, I find it hard to believe too. So you answered, you've been very informative, and you've confirmed all what that I have concerns with, and will continue to have concerns with. And I just want to say that, here, we're elected officials. Some of us are appointed, some of us are hired, but we all have a fiduciary responsibility to the city. And the core responsibility is around taxpayer dollars. And this council will be negligent, and we will be at risk to be sued by our residents if we continue to take on debt that we have no information or insight into without the appropriate level of documentation. Who takes on a loan? You don't go hard dealership would take on a loan without the documentation and knowing how many months you gotta pay and what happens when you don't pay. Nor do you go get a mortgage. There's always some level of documentation, and the ordinance, you need some supplemental documentation. I'd like to see that supplemental documentation. And yes, here in the city of Trenton, we actually do have a bond that's outstanding, and they said they can't, unable to find any of the supporting documentation. But thank you, sir.
I want to record, if there's anything that I worked on that the council needs to discuss, I'm available to discuss with anybody. I can do it at one time. It'll be as transparent and clear as possible. If what you're looking for is a bond that I worked on, I can speak to that as a bond that occurred before I got here, and maybe not. And I don't know
We'll
what.
take that offline. I definitely follow up with, I will work with Mr. Cruz.
That's fine.
All right.
Thank you.
Councilman Santiago, any questions for this gentleman?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions. First is, what is our city's rating according to the accreditation agencies, Moody's? What is our rating?
Your requirements are going down to the state, is to issue bonds under something called the Municipal Qualified Bond Act. The Municipal Qualified Bond Act is another state program, whereas we benefit the state's bond rating, which is Baa2 at the moment, because they were downgraded, 9 times in the county crystal, but still better than the city's underlying bond rating. And so, I don't remember about balance on top of my head. I don't know the city bond rating is on top of my head, but I know that the city's debt would be, that we issue always be Baa2, which is the state bond rating. That's why we're going to state for commission. In this particular instance, this is a state program, so we're issuing a bond to the state and not to the market.
I understand that.
So this
It sounds great, the $50 million, I have no problem with it, it sounds great. But for the past couple of weeks, we have been asking questions for the documentation.
I'll promise you that tonight, and I can find that information out for you tonight.
$50 million. Well, I'm talking about the documentation on $18.7 million that were issued last June 21st. And the process that you're mentioning.
I have information on that as well. If you will, I can speak to that.
But we wanted to that before we voted it, we should get clarification. Because if we're going to add more than
I worked on that ordinance personally, drafted that ordinance 1875.
I remember.
That was adopted last June.
Right,
That's
that's
correct.
We have the state focused on this particular ordinance because that is what this comment is based on, this ordinance that's in front of us.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any questions?
Councilman Harrison from the East Ward.
Mr. Johnson, let me get this right now. You're a bond counsel, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we're the politician, right? So you know bonds, we don't know bonds, right? This is $15 million, 9 of it's going to be forgiven, right? Is that correct?
And I was eligible to get that.
Forget that. That's $6 million, 3 is going to be interest-free for 3 years.
No, 3 million to 6 million.
3 million to 6 million?
Yes.
Okay. So, to me, I mean, like you said, it's people's safety. The lead we're talking about is health. How is this not a big deal? I'm not sure what the big deal is. I mean, I think I know you know what you're doing, and hopefully we should be looking for the future of people's health care. So, thank you for your explanation.
Thank you. I wanted to speak to Mr. Cruz based on this ordinance. Mr. Cruz, is it that when we are talking about this $15 million and saying that $900 million is eligible for forgiveness, we're also talking about the lead pipes being removed. If our residents had to do this out of their own pocket, it would be costing them from $2,500 to $5,000. Is that what we're talking about here?
Yes.
So, in the interest of the residents, far as the infrastructure is concerned, the administration feels as though this is one of the best deals that the residents can get, and especially if they're on a fixed income. Is that the way we're going here with this?
That is correct, Madam President. The cost per resident will actually be diminished tremendously.
Tremendously. And so, this is just a start. So let me ask you, you talked in reference to the percentage of homes that this particular $15 million will cover. And hypothetically speaking, we still have to go throughout the city replacing lead pipes in other areas. Will we be able to get this type of deal for any of the other residents, or is this just a one-time a deal here with the 15 million?
When you say other minutes, are you talking about the other municipalities, Madam President?
No, I'm talking about the other. This is only, I think they said it's 14%. This is covering 14% of the residents.
Yeah, so this is actually to kickstart the replacement program, and then we will continue moving on to to the other neighborhoods, if we want to call them neighborhoods.
Right, neighborhoods.
Correct.
So what I'm asking is, will this 15 million cover the entire Trenton, or will we have to go back out to
No, we would eventually have to go back out again and apply for
other ones? Yes. Okay, and hopefully some will be available for us. So, I just wanted to
2,600 households, I was told just now.
Right. We had got that information the last time. So I just wanted to be sure that, that this $15 million, I wanted to ask a question about how far it would go with those 2,600 homes. And so we will probably have to find other monies, and hopefully we might be able to tap back into the infrastructure fund to complete the houses in the city.
Yes.
Is that, all right. I thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
ma'am.
All right, Mr. Harris, moving forward.
Is there a motion to
So moved.
Mr. Karen, Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Colville-Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez? Ms. Bowman?
No. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Ms. McBride?
Yes.
The public hearing is closed. Is there a?
So moved.
That has to be read to the record.
Is there a motion to adopt said ordinance and authorize publication as provided by law?
Madam
So
President,
moved.
I want to table this ordinance.
Councilwoman Long, this is the way that the process works. First, we have to have a motion, then we second it, and then you can come in after the second, remember? Okay. This is all of us on. All right, so Mr. Harris, you want to continue?
So this is, Mr. Blakey moved the motion to adopt the ordinance. Is there a second?
Yes.
Now,
Second by Ms. Cole.
and now, Mrs. Long.
Thank you.
Can you move the table something once it's been properly first and second?
Mr. Harris, Mrs. Long wants to table this, and what is the procedure?
Well, there is a motion on the floor to adopt this ordinance, so you can either withdraw the motion, and then a motion to table this, or you can carry out a vote.
Mr. Councilman, please, let us go this in a formality. So, Mr. Harris, continue.
So as I was saying, the motion can be withdrawn, or can be, well, you're dealing with an ordinance, so it's,
Right.
well, it can happen.
Okay, so, Mrs. Councilwoman Long, the motion on the floor is to adopt, and so at this juncture, you could vote against the ordinance.
Yeah, I was trying to, but somebody jumped ahead of me. I had said that I wanted to table it, and it's unfortunate that somebody was very aggressive in trying to prevent me with the opportunity to do that.
So we have a motion on the floor to move forward with the ordinance, and Councilwoman Long, you have the opportunity to vote against the ordinance.
No, that's not the same thing. I need more time. I think the ordinance, I would like the ordinance to be tabled so that I can work with the bond attorney to get more information.
But that's not the motion that's on the floor, Councilwoman.
I understand what Councilman Blakey did, And,
No,
I had,
no, that was the procedure that had to take place.
so I had mentioned to you, and I said to you, I said, I wanted to table it, and once before you can turn, he said, he moved to motion. Is that what happened?
As a matter of procedure, Councilwoman Vaughn, you could have made a motion to table this ordinance at any time.
I was doing that, but I was listening to Madam President McBride.
Because that was the next step after we.
Yeah, and so I was going to table it. Mr. Harris?
You're going to make a motion to table.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, Mr. Harris, let's continue.
The question is called, has been called. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Wait. Whoa. Again, we wanted to table it. Kathy, all due respect, I yielded when you asked me to yield. And you knew that I was waiting to do that.
Councilwoman Vaughn, let me be very clear to you, and I try to be as fair here as I possibly can. When you wanted to table this, when we began the process, you could have asked to table it before we went.
I did.
Comment on this
Oh, wait a
particular.
minute. Mr. Harris said I could have done it at any time, even when I asked you, Madam President.
Prior to the motion being moved and seconded, you could have tabled this, you could have made a motion to table this at any time. You could have walked in the door and said, I move to table this ordinance. So when you were asking your question, you could have made a motion to table it. Once it has been moved and seconded, that motion must be carried out. That's the rules.
Go ahead.
All right, we're gonna move to vote. Mr. Harris, has Mr. Blakely voted on this?
He has.
And Ms. Caldwell Wilson?
Ms. Caldwell Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle? Yes. Mr. Rodriguez?
No.
Ms. Vaughn?
No.
Ms. McBride?
Yes.
Ordinance 19-16 has been properly adopted. Next on the agenda is public comments for new business only. Anyone from the public wish to speak on any resolutions or ordinances on the docket, please come to the podium at this time and speak to those subject matters exclusively.
Does the ordinance 1916 count for new business?
It has been adopted. It's done.
General comment.
That would be, this is for new business. That was old business. Yes. Seeing none, we will continue with the agenda. Sir? I'm sorry? On any resolution or ordinance that's on for the council's consideration, yes, you may.
I understand correctly. Thank you for taking me. I had a problem this morning. I came in today for supposedly an abandoned house. And the bill was $400.
So that wouldn't be addressed at this moment in time. This public comment is just for a resolution or ordinance that would be in the general public comment section,
Okay.
which is
Later? Okay.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Okay.
Seeing none, we will continue. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda, which will be composed of resolutions number 19-70 to 19-81 and 19-83 to 19-84. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Second.
Just for the record, Mr. Blakely has stepped off the dais. Ms. Caldwell Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. McBride?
Yes.
Consent agenda has been approved. Next for your consideration is Resolution 19-82, which is a resolution acknowledging and commending the emeritus service and accomplishments of Dr. Trenton Director of the Trenton Water and Sewer Department. Is there a motion?
Madam President? I requested that this resolution be voted separately because I believe it's unfair to recognize just one person in the city when we have hundreds of workers in this city, other directors that deserve to be recognized. We have workers that have been working here for 30 years. I have never, ever been recognized. Now, I don't see the meritorious service is mentioned here. It's only what works. We are still struggling. We're still missing about 40 workers. We finally have a job fair done. I understand that we have hundreds of applications. Before that, what we were told was that it wasn't easy to hire people from Trenton, that they couldn't find people. But the idea of that job fair that was done at the last meeting did not come from the Board of Works, did not come from the Director of Board of Works. So I have nothing against Mr. Boucher, but I believe it is unfair to recognize just one person for his work for the past 7 months, when we have firefighters, we have police officers, we have all excellent workers that have been doing an excellent job for years and nobody has recognized them. Thank you.
Madam Mayor. Regarding the recognition of Dr. Shea. Dr. Shea has only been with us just as long as I've been here, less than a year at this time. He has not even had an opportunity to really deliver on his mandate. As of to date, the water company is still facing challenges. He has lots of work to be done. So I think this resolution is premature, and it's certainly premature, particularly when you're a senior executive and you're running a division as large as Trenton Water Works, and you've been given the mandate of removing an administrative consent order, and we are still under that administrative consent order, and we are still, as we speak, getting violations. And we have not even upgraded the infrastructure. We talk about the lead pipes. This has been an ongoing discussion for the past 2 years. So this is a bunch of crap when people talk about they're concerned about the health of the people in this city. So Dr. Shea, until he gets busy with delivering on his mandate, replacing those service pipes. Raise your hands, folks. Who in here so far has been contacted by Trenton Water Works to have their water pipe replaced? How long has that website been up asking people to sign up? No one has been contacted. None of the work is being done on the infrastructure. And I can guess that it probably won't be in any year in the near future. So until Dr. Shea starts getting busy, delivering on his mandate, hiring the manpower, sorting through those 500 resumes, getting those folks to work, turning that water utility around, making it a class water utility that the envy of our nation, should this council should even consider such a ridiculous award. Until he gets that ACO lifted, then at that time, I would say it would be appropriate to give him an award. Right now, it's ridiculously premature. Thank you.
Councilman.
Thank you. So, I would like to say a few things about Dr. Shea. Dr. Shea is a giant. He is someone who has a distinguished track record in in municipal affairs as well as in water quality. The fact of the matter is, an appointment of his caliber is a significant coup for this city. The Trenton Water Works has been neglected for years. Some people believe by omission, some people believe by commission. And we have someone who is working very, very, very hard to bring confidence back to the Trenton Water Works. He's not a magician. He's a very smart guy. He has a PhD, but he's not a magician. And the fact of the matter is, Dr. Shea came out of retirement to assist the mayor in this city in restoring confidence in the Trenton Water Works. I don't know how many people retire from a long and distinguished career and goes back to a very uncompetitive salary to work 50+ hours to fix the morass that exists in the Trenton Water Works. We had a governor in the form of Chris Christie that did everything in his power to sabotage the Trenton Water Works. Now we have a person in the form of Dr. Shea who is attempting to address decades of neglect with his experience, his insight, and his relationships. What baffles me is folks are complaining about the status of the Trenton Water Works and at the same time being obstructionists when Dr. Shea is recommending bonds to improve the Trenton Water Works. So I just don't understand it. How on one hand you can complain about the lack of work being done at the Trenton Water Works, and then in the same breath you stymie and obstruct on this council the ordinances that are actually going to provide the funds to address the issues that everyone knows exist at the Trenton Water Works. And so I think that in the private sector, we would be trying to do everything that we could financially to compensate someone of the caliber of Dr. Shea. We can't do that here. We don't have any money in the city of Trenton. We can't say, hey, Dr. Shea, you are bringing confidence back to this institution. Hey, you're doing a great job. Let's give you a bonus. So what we could do is just is an ordinance saying, thanks. You're doing a resolution saying, thanks. We're not giving them any extra money. We are simply saying, we appreciate the job that you are doing. The fact of the matter is, to find someone like Dr. Shea to come to this city and deal with the crap that he's had to deal with from some folks on this council, someone who has put in the necessary hours, has your credentials, and how much are we paying them? $108,000? We would be paying significantly more for someone of his caliber. So I appreciate Dr. Shea for coming out of retirement to assist the city of Trenton in improving the Trenton Water Works. We owe you a debt of gratitude, and I am very, very happy to vote in favor of this ordinance because it's the least that we can do to encourage the type of caliber of director that Dr. Shea is. He is a giant. He is someone who is doing a fantastic job. And I want to say publicly, thank you, and I hope my colleagues on this council, which I believe the majority will do, will simply say, thank you for a job well done. And I believe that in this city, we have to find a way to keep and retain the quality directors that we have and not run them off with their bullying demeanor, their aggressive, unproductive inquiries, and their lack of knowledge and respect for the kind of caliber director Dr. Shea is. So thank you very much. I look forward to voting for this. And thank you, Dr. Shea. This is the least we can do to retain someone of this caliber and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Councilman Michelle.
I'd just like to say that Dr. Shea came into a real mess in the city of Trenton. We had major problems here. So did a lot of other directors come in the city of Trenton. We had a lot of problems here. And we expected the best from all the directors. And I think they do a great job. I grant you, Dr. Shea took a lot of shots. He also took shots from me. Hold him accountable, because we expect that. It's our word. We want the best for city residents. So he came in. Maybe he didn't know what he was getting involved in. I knew. I worked hard for 10 years to keep the order. To keep the order. We walked the streets. Several council people right here next to me walked the streets to get enough votes to keep this here in the city of Trenton. So the last thing we're going to do is have somebody sabotage the order tomorrow. And let me tell you, a lot of you don't know, but they sure as hell tried to do it. And you can take that to the bank with the other administrations. They wanted to sell it. They wanted to sell the pipelines, they wanted to sell everything. And if you didn't play their game, you were going to be fired. The administration was going to fire you. So as a director, you would be fired. They came to you and said you're going to back and sell this water department and sell the pipes. If you didn't back them, you were fired. How do you like that? Why do you know that? I could sit here for an hour and tell you with a lot of things that go on in the city of Trenton that nobody knows. But let me tell you, everybody's got a job to do. He's doing his job. He's getting paid for his job. He gets a pension from his other job. And he does very well. So in here, we all get roughed up. Council people get roughed up. We have our disputes. We go back and forth. I don't see any papers or anything saying I did a good job. I'm always getting blasted that I'm not doing a good job. And the rest of the council people. I don't go out every morning looking for praise that I picked up your garbage or anything like that. I do the job because I feel I owe it to the residents. I owe you a little bit better. Just a little bit better when things don't get done. He's doing a good job for what he's been here doing it, and he got beat up. Not physically, but he had to answer questions. That's his job, to answer the questions. I don't feel, this is me, and me only, can't answer for the rest of the council people. If you want to give one person an award, then give everybody an award, because the city was down on its back, and we're trying to bring it back. And everybody does a pretty good job, I stay here, with our directors and everything we put up with here. I think we try very hard. Like I said, we got our problems, but I think we're fighting very, very hard to make the city move in the right direction. I just feel that this is premature. On out. Give me a year's time. Let's see what he's doing. I say he's on the right road. He's doing it. This is his job. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Councilwoman Caldwell-Wilson.
First of all, I want to thank my colleague Jerome Blakely for so eloquently expressing why we felt the need to bring this resolution before council tonight. This is no slight on our other directors. But this man was challenged to a point of almost harassment in these chambers by one of my colleagues. I don't want someone of his caliber saying, I can't take this every day, and it's not just the council he gets harassed. He gets harassed on the phone, and he gets drop-in visits to his office. So we want to encourage Dr. Boucher to stay with us, to steer the boat, and to help us get this water company back up to the condition that it used to be in many years ago. And I, for one, will definitely support this because I want to encourage him to stay because he is feeling very threatened and he does not have to have this job. And we can talk about how much he draws down on a pension and how much he has in retirement. He didn't have to take this job. Dr. Boucher was retiring and going back to his art. And when the mayor asked him if he would help this city out, he said he would come on board. So I want personally tonight to vote for this and to thank him. I thank all the other directors, and when they do terrific things, I always send out a thanks to them. But I hope they understand the importance of this resolution from this body. It's so important right now. Thank you.
Councilman Harrison?
I too will agree with Mr. Blakely, Ms. Carl Wilson. He's been coming up here speaking from his heart. He gets halfway through a sentence, he gets cut off. That's not professionalism. That's not having the respect for your colleagues or having respect for your director. So overall, the Trenton Woodworks have had problems for a while. And for us to just say thank you, I'm not sure why that's a big deal. I think we should be thanking other people, but he stood there many times and got berated. And I think that radioactive reaction needs to stop. We're colleagues over here. We need to have respect for everybody, the people out here and the directors. I don't think I should ever have a director stand up there and get pummeled, ever. And I think we should learn that, look, we got elected to lead, not berate, not to talk down, not to talk over, not to jump up out of our seat, to stare at you, to turn our seat, to stare at our colleagues. This is not what we're elected for. We're elected to work for the future of the city. So I personally, yes, I want to thank you. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank this man because I see in his eyes that he really cares and he wants to do a great job. So I want to thank you for that.
I'm just going to say that I know that all of the problems in the water department has not been addressed. This is 30 years of decline in our water department, and Dr. Boucher has been, he has been aggressive in trying to meet our deadlines with the ACO, DEP, and DCA. And I believe that as much as we criticize, we should also be able to thank and say, Dr. Boucher, we feel as though you're moving in the right direction. We love the guidance that you're bringing to the water department. Keep up the good work. I don't think anything is wrong with that. The problem is that any one of us as council members can bring a resolution to the floor thanking any director that you so choose to. We choose at this point to lift Dr. Shea up and to let him know we respect him, we respect his work. You have a lot of work to do, Dr. Shea, but we appreciate what you are doing. We appreciate the direction that you are taking the Trenton Water Department. We appreciate you gaining confidence in our customers. We appreciate you, Dr. Shea, for the work. We have a lot of work in front of us. We have a long way to go, but we want to thank you for countless hours in being aggressive in dealing with the ACO, DEP, and DCA. That is what this resolution is about. And any of our council members that want to thank any of the other directors, we welcome that. we welcome it. So I'd just like to say, as far as my colleagues, you know, I hope that they would support this, knowing that knowing that the work is not complete. But we need to lift up the people that come into this city and give us their countless hours. Thank you. I'm just finished because I believe that his work speaks for itself, and we do have a ways to go. Thank you. Mr. Harrison, can you move forward with the roll call?
Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle? Yes. Mr. Rodriguez?
Abstain.
Ms. Vaughn?
Abstain.
Ms. McBride?
Yes.
Resolution 19-82 has passed. Next on the agenda is public comments. Sir, now is the time for you to come. State your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Council. I'm at 529 Street, longtime resident, taxpayer, citizen of Trenton, New Jersey. Hello, fellow Trenton citizens and residents. Council, I would ask that you please indulge me as I go step by step in what I need to address. That has to do with the old and new business resolutions regarding the Trenton Waterworks. I'd like to preface what I have to say by saying that it would be a travesty if we sat down here in these chambers or invest our times and come to these hearings and not be able to keep track of and understand the issues under deliberation. Having said that, I think that the issue at hand here regarding these resolutions, 1875, which is the old ordinance, regarding the 18.75 million, and the current 1916 regarding the 15 million. The issue here is these two resolutions, as we sat in these chambers and listened, speak to the same issues, vis-a-vis replacement of the lead pipes leading to the citizens' homes, in addition to other major infrastructural renovations that have to be made. We are not arguing bonds or the financial and or jurisprudence of them to finance these issues. Mr. Johnson made a good presentation and we understood him, at least I did, I don't know about others. But I think the issue here is one of duplicity. Again, I refer back to the fact that I sat here along with others and we listened, and the issue is that both ordinances provide for the same thing. And so we're asking, in the interest of financial prudence, we talked about the 18.75 million addressing these issues. And we listened here also in response to what was done with that money, about whether or not it was drawn down, conflicting presentations, conflicting answers to the issue of the financing of the work at hand to be done. I stand to be corrected if anybody wants to speak to that issue, but these are my recollections, and I think I paid good attention. Okay? So, maybe the point that is being made here is that it's better to sign on to the new 15 million bonds because 9 off of it is forgivable and 3 out of the 6 leftover is interest-free for up to 3 years. It didn't say totally interest-free. So we're looking at only 3 million that's payable with interest, okay? In addition to the other 3 if we're not able to pay. Again, the issue of duplicity is what's at question here. And so, as I listen to the comments in response to the new business, in the light of civic comments here, Council said that they are concerned with City Trenton Waterworks and all its problems, any of its problems. If that was the issue, I sat here also along with other fellow citizen residents and listened to the majority of this council vote in support of all those other ordinances and measures that support the continued ACO and MOU oversights over the same Trenton Waterworks. If this council was really interested in working with and saving the Trenton Waterworks, I would think that majority of you would have gone to the assembly along with Dr. Shea to testify against any continuing ACOU, MOU oversights against this Trenton Waterworks. I didn't see that. Majority of you were not at the assembly when this issue came up. Okay, it was only 2/7 of you that went to that meeting. So this is what we are talking about. Essentially, what I hear as I sit here as a lay citizen, learning from all of you, is dubiosity, hypocrisy, conflict of interest. That's what I hear. So let's not muddle up issues talking about the semantics of the bonds and the terms of them, the fiscal or financial and jurisprudence of them. Question at hand, which is duplicity in the provisions of these two separate bonds addressing the same things. I believe that was what Ms. Horn referred to when she asked a question and ignited the debate and called Mr. Johnson up here to answer the question. Dr. Shea was in support, yes, in reference to the issue about commending him. He was in support of setting the Trenton Waterworks. I did not get that feeling from the majority of the council sitting here on the dais today. And that concludes my presentation. That's the issue at hand. Let's not get distracted. Face the issues and questions at hand.
I appreciate the work you all do. I've been a resident of Trenton for 40 years now. Oh, excuse me. Peter Stokey. And I'm representing my house at 140 Garfield Avenue. We personally don't live there. We moved over to Hamilton. But I have to go back and start do some cleaning out there so I can get it up for sale or remodel or whatever. It's been deemed an abandoned house by the city of Trenton. I came down and paid $250 garbage to get on the abandoned list. I guess I don't know what it's for. I got a ticket to go down to Trenton Police Department. And I spoke to the judge, and the judge said, you gotta go back and get a receipt that you paid. Come back and show me the receipt. In the meantime, I was charged $300 court fine just to show up to court. Now I was told that I had to come back here and pay $400 late February. I came in this morning to do that, and the lady there said the system's been changed. As of January 1st, I have to come up with $1,300. This is going to kill me. I'm trying to save the house. We won't lose it. I appreciate some help, one way or another, in changing this rule and helping out some of these people that are being slaughtered that will have houses on the abandoned list. I'm having a heart problem right now. My heart was racing up the days because I have heart palpitations, and I guess I didn't need doing this evening, so that's causing a problem. I'll leave my thoughts with you, and my phone number's on the list back here if anybody wants to contact me. I appreciate some help with this.
Joe King Josephson.
I'm not sure what you want me to say. You want to know my life story? I'm a lifelong Trentonian, graduate of Trenton High. I live in Trenton. And I think they expected me to the thing here. I'm going to be appointed to the ethics board here. I don't know. What else? There is a county attorney.
So you put your name on the sign-in sheet to speak during the public comments, that's why you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Someone told me to sign up. I had no idea. I did not understand. It's funny. Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Richard Lee is he still here?
You're appointed by us.
Andre Perez. So is there anyone else that desires to address the governing body at this time? Please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing? Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson? Yes. Mr. Harrison? Yes. Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Frye? Public hearing is closed. Next on the agenda are civic comments.
Yeah, no comment.
My civic comments, we have a cleanup this weekend on Fountain and New Rose, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Also, on the back table there's a flyer for the Chambersburg Little League. It's 4 to 12 years of age, Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Has a telephone number, 609-310-5030. So if you want to volunteer, help with the kids, we really would appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Well, I want to thank you, everybody. I just like to tell Councilman Blakely that I don't like to obstruct. I was elected to do what I guess since I was against the resolution, he referred to me also. I'm not kind to I like to offend personally anybody. The actions, yes, the actions. If I ask questions, I would like to get answers. Not go around the bush. I like to get answers, straight answers, because if you are a director, if you are an attorney, if you are whatever you are, and you're sitting there, we deserve answers. As a matter of fact, our business administrator suggested a month ago that he was going to ask that every director comes here every month to give us reports. And I adopt that. I hope that that happens. We should not be calling for directors to come here. They should come here as their duty to let us know if we approve thousands of dollars for their contracts or their loans, to give us explanations on what's the status on those loans, what's the status on the $18.7 million. You know, that's all we are asking for, the status. Because you might feel that things have been running beautifully in the city of Trenton. No. For years, there have been corruption in this city. For years, there have been contractors that have been doing nothing and getting money for those contracts for years. That's why I wanted to have a new in some state, somewhere else. For years, we have that. For years, we have people in this city that come to work in the morning, and then go out and do whatever, and don't do anything. There are workers in this city that do that. I am tired of it. And as a matter of fact, this body, we were elected to change that. To change, not to continue, but to change that system. To work for the city. Not to work for a director or for an administrator, to work for everybody else. That's what we have to do. It's time that this body gets together. We have not had a meeting among ourselves. No, we have not had a meeting yet. Things happen. Really, the next day in the paper, the Trenton publishes that There were people meeting somewhere in the state. It was secrecy. I believe that we were one body here, one city council. I believe that anybody should be invited to what's going on. We're going to have meetings about this, meetings about that, and we're going to read about that in the papers. I believe it's time for us to stop that and start working as a group. As a group. We don't have to agree with each other, but we have to work together for the benefit of this city, not for the benefit of certain people or certain developers, for the benefit of this city. Because we have to do it. We have to change this city for the better. We have people up here, we have residents, even the ones that the majority didn't vote for us. Now, the majority of the residents, only a little bit over 8,000 voted. But we have a fiduciary responsibility with this city, and we cannot do it by switching around, by being pleasing somebody from the outside, by being listening to calls from outside or telling us how to follow this, how to follow that. No, we should do it according to us, not according to somebody that sends us a message or give us a call. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Santiago. Councilwoman Hall.
Thank you. Well, this has been an interesting session. I'm going to stick to the fiscal status of the city of Trenton. When I came on to council, I have a track record of advocacy for my constituents and for this city. Unlike a lot of my colleagues up here, I didn't get a new job because I came to council. Some of our colleagues have taken on a job. We all know how he got that job. Everybody knows how he got the job. I come to council because I want the best for the city of Trenton. And from the day one, when we signed onto that ACO, I challenged the mayor, Lucior, that ACO was restricted. Even Dr. Shea himself has verbally and publicly stated that no one has negotiated with the city of Trenton. We've entered into not our law department, not our mayors, we entered into the very restrictive regulatory contracts with the state. Nobody negotiating for us. Dr. Shea said that himself. I bet you most of his colleagues on this council have no idea what I'm talking about. The ACO needs to be lifted and should never have been signed on to without. It was signed on unilaterally, if you recall. Mayor Lucior and some of the members of on this council went behind closed doors and signed it, sitting on to an ACO that we will probably never get out from under. Shame on them. With the MOU, I came on, I put up a resolution to have it lifted, to get a unified voice. All four of them voted it down. So the reason why we're dealing with the restrictive and getting treated badly by the DCA with no respect is because of half these council members up here. I challenge that as well, and still continue to challenge it. Our city deserves better. We need to be self-governed. What's the use of having a council? We're all elected officials. You guys elected us. You didn't elect the DCA. It's like Dr. Shea says. Before he can even hire somebody, Eric Jackson, the former mayor, faced the same thing. He has to go to 4 layers of government entities. But none of the council up here is talking about that, but they're so excited about the service of Dr. Shea. Dr. Shea shared with me, in order for him to hire, he has to go through the city of Trenton, he has to go to the DCA, he has to go to the DEP, and he has to go to the civil service. All because we're under layers of regulatory oversight. BPU, ACO, MOU, and and this council supported it all. You know why they supported it? Because they don't like Robin Vaughn. Robin Vaughn put up a resolution to lift the city out of this ridiculous oversight. And they voted it down. These individuals are hypocrites. They don't want to invest in the city. They endorse what they want to fight for. They're up here for their own advantage, their own self-interest. Promote their career and get what they can get out of this. Some of them are going to retire afterwards. But they're not for us. They're not for the people. They're not for the taxpayer. We have a responsibility to look after taxpayer dollars. And look, they passed a $15 million ordinance today, knowing that we have not gotten full accounting of a resolution that was passed in a prior council less than a year ago. So right now, we have $33.7 million bond, the $15 million that was passed today, and the $18.7 that was passed last June 2018, less than a year ago. $33.7 million. I don't think most folks up here even know how to do math. That is a horrendous amount of debt to take on for a city that's under the MOU that has not received any transitional aid. Now, as far as performance and accomplishments by leadership at the water utility, well, hey, you have, as of today, before the $15 million got passed, and of course, we won't see any of those funds for a couple of months, but with the $18.7 million, we also have been told by our administration that we have a net surplus of $17 million. So 18 million is 17 million. So what has been done to date? Where's the accounting? What has been done to date with the 18.7 million and the $17 million in net surplus? Net revenue from the water company, from the water fees that Mr. Johnson talked about, that's going to be used to pay these bonds down. So folks, don't come here and listen to empty comments about me. It's not about me. Listen to Councilman Blakely infer about me. Let him talk about himself. What has he achieved? What has he advocated for? I advocated for this water company from day one. And it's because of me that we have it today. And it is not under the jurisdiction of another municipality or another government. They were proposing, it was an orchestration down on the floor of the New Jersey legislature to put our water company and rename it to Mercer Regional Waterworks, and put it under current executive Brian Hughes, and put it under the Mercer County Board of Freeholders, taking that from our responsibility. And if I didn't write a legislative letter to alert the state that they were overreaching by the New Jersey State Constitution 1947 that says municipalities are self-governing bodies, that the state cannot pass any legislation that interferes in municipal government. And guess what? The bill got smacked down. That's because of your West Ward Councilwoman. I'm not being puppeted by anybody, not by any prior mayors. Robin Vaughn came to council on her own. She paid her own campaign. No one gave me any money for my campaign. I'm not with the Democratic Party or Mercer County machine that has driven this city into a hole. So don't talk, and I show up for every council meeting. There's a council member up here from the East Ward. You don't even know if he's going to show up from time to time. So Do not ever call me out of my name or refer to me in that negative context. I'm talking about Councilman Joe Harrison.
Please, let's not,
Okay.
please.
But you didn't, Kathy, you didn't stop them when they were talking about me, Madam President.
Let's come to our public.
Okay, so I will be concluding my public comments, and I will not be interrupted because you didn't interrupt Joe Harrison or Jarrell Blakey when they were referring to me in a negative way. Okay, so all I want to say to you residents is, Dr. Shea now, after this meeting, has under his purview $50 million. $50 million. You remember that number. Get a full accounting of it. Make certain that all those renovations that he has to make in the water company, replacing your pipes, the water service, the fire hydrants, the meters. Let's see how long that's going to take to get done. $50 million. 18.7 unaccounted for. But I'm going to be meeting with Mr. Johnson after this meeting, or thereafter, to get an accounting and some documentation on that 18.7 million. But $50 million now, folks, and nobody's asking where the money's going. But I'll be asking every council meeting. I will be here, and I will be asking about it. I will hold this administration accountable like I have been doing from day one. I will make sure that my duty, my fiduciary duty, to watch over the assets and the monies of the residents will be done. I work for you. I don't work for anybody on this council. You guys voted me in, not these individuals. So I can care less what they have to say about me. I'm going to represent my constituents the way I know best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. First, I would like to thank each and every one of you for coming. And I would just like to say this. I would like to go on record and just say this. There's seven individuals up here on this council. And we were all elected by the people. And no one council person can get anything in this city done. It takes a collective body to move this city forward. So when we start grandstanding and talking about the I, this is not the place for you, because I cannot get anything done without the rest of this body. And so I would like to say to the public, I need my colleagues to understand something. Across this dais, they need to understand that we represent the people. And we were sent here to do a job. And this in-house fighting has to come to an end in order for us to move the city forward. I do not care what you think about each other as individuals. You have to put the people of the city of Trenton first. Without that, we do not move forward. I want to say again, it takes 4 votes to move this city. And when you talk into the term of I, you are not going to get the job done for your constituents. We need to move forward. It's okay to disagree, but we have a job to do here, and we need to try to come together as a collective body and get this job done. And as long as we sit here with this pettiness and this personal vendetta, we are not going to move this city. And I am telling you, this city needs to move forward. We're bringing people on that can help us. We need to work with them, and we need to work with each other. And I want to just say that I don't have time for it. I do not have the time to digest or to process this type of foolishness here. We must move forward with the deeds that we were appointed to do. I'm begging my colleagues to put it aside, this Facebook, this social media attacking each other. Come on, you're gonna have to rise up to a level of professionalism, and you are going to have to stand out amongst the crowd, but you cannot stand out with the foolishness. And I just want to say that, and I want to thank all of you for coming, but I want to tell you, we are going to have to do better at this body, because we can disagree, but it has to be in a respectable manner. Thank all of the directors and the police, everybody from the department heads that are here tonight to address the issues that the council might have. We're going to ask for an adjournment because we have an executive session. No, from this, okay. So we're going to, Mr. Harris, what are we going to?
We're going to read the resolution going into executive session. So be resolved by the City Council of the City of Trenton, this body will convene an executive session in the City Council Conference Room, City Hall, that will be limited to consideration of an item or items with respect to which the public may be excluded pursuant to Section 7B of the Open Public Meetings Act. The general nature of the subject or subjects to be discussed is personnel, stated as precisely as presently possible. The following is the time when the circumstances in which the discussion conducted at said meeting can be disclosed to the public, being February 21st, 2020, or when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. The public is excluded from said meeting, and further notice is dispensed with all in accordance with Section 8 and 4A of the Open Public Meetings Act. Is there a motion? Mr. Blake? Yes. Ms. Caldwell-Wilson? Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle? Yes. Mr. Rodriguez? Yes. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
This council is now in executive session.